You know, the Dragon Ball fandom never ceases to amaze me. For the past few weeks, there have been tons of questions that have come up and speculation about what's going on in the new arc of Dragon Ball Super, the Future Trunks arc, and Goku Black, and all these things. But the one question that's come up over and over and over and over again, just as much as any other question, is why is Trunks' hair blue? Well, guess what? On this video, I might have an answer for you. What I'm hoping to do here with this video is not only to debunk a lot of the fan rumors or theories that have been going around about Trunks' hair being blue in Dragon Ball Super, but also to hopefully get to the bottom of what's actually going on. When we all first learned that Future Trunks was coming back to Dragon Ball Super, a plethora of fans quickly took note of the fact that Trunks' hair was now blue instead of his traditional purple, and others presumed it was just a mistake made by the coloring department or the promotional department over at Toei, or maybe even a mistake by Toriyama himself. Because if you remember, when the Battle of Gods promotional art came out, Kid Trunks' hair was also blue. And then when it was animated, it was fixed and Trunks' hair was back to being purple. But that was not the case here, because when Dragon Ball Super episode 47 premiered, Future Trunks' hair was blue throughout the entire episode. This would lead to a number of new theories about why Trunks' hair was blue. Some folks thought he had achieved the God form, but that didn't make any sense because his hair was not spiked up and there was no aura around it. Others thought that perhaps he had dyed his hair as a tribute to his mother or something like that. And then the third one that I saw a lot of was the theory that because Trunks had aged, his hair had changed from purple to blue. Many people citing the fact that a lot of babies are born with blonde hair and then their hair darkens as they get older. Some fans actually went out of their way to validating this theory by stating that Bulma's hair was purple when she was younger and that as she got older it became blue. But that's not true at all. However, there is some confusion here, and it all traces back to the original run of the Dragon Ball manga within the pages of Weekly Shonen Jump. Now, although the original manga was primarily in black and white during the original print and in several reprints, in the original run and in subsequent re-releases, there were indeed colored chapters. And within the pages of these colored chapters, Bulma's hair was indeed purple. But in the anime, Toei decided to change her hair to blue for reasons that I honestly don't even remember if there even was a reason. Bulma's hair has never been purple whatsoever in the anime, with the exception of the 10th anniversary movie Dragon Ball Path to Power, where Toei decided to keep her hair purple, most likely as a tribute and a throwback to the original manga. But even though it was purple in the majority of the manga, there are still some pages where her hair is blue or even gray in some instances. But in the anime, it was never purple, except for Path to Power. So that theory's out the window. But then in the early 90s, when the time came to adapt Trunks into the Dragon Ball Z anime, for some reason, Toei decided to keep his hair purple. Which I guess some fans forgot, because I was reading some comments of people saying that they made Trunks' hair blue to match Bulma's because of the change that was made with her hair in Dragon Ball Super. But why would his hair be purple in Dragon Ball Z? Not to mention that in the flashbacks from Dragon Ball Super episode 47, his hair was purple there too. Now here's where it gets even stranger. In Dragon Ball Super episode 48, Bulma mentions that Future Trunks is a guy with blue hair, which was very strange because Bulma had not seen Trunks since he left Back to the Future at the end of the Cell arc, and back then his hair was still purple. So how could Bulma have known that Trunks' hair was blue before even seeing the guy? That kind of kills the whole Trunks dyed his hair blue theory. Just a few days before the episode premiered, we saw inconsistent promotional material where Trunks' hair from the future was purple again, and yet in the anime, it's back to being blue. The thing is, if you go back throughout the history of this character, Trunks' hair has never been consistent to begin with, and depending on the time has constantly flip-flopped from being blue and purple. If you take a look at some of the scans you see on your screen right now, you'll see that in some of the material, Trunks' hair was indeed blue even all the way back then, including this shot right here of Trunks giving Cell the middle finger. So there are numerous examples of Trunks' hair changing color throughout the years that a lot of fans forgot about. The biggest one to me was when Trunks was going to fight Cell, and I don't know why, to this day, it doesn't make sense, but for some reason his hair was red. Was Trunks the original god? No, he wasn't, but it's interesting that Toriyama drew him with red hair once. Now, thankfully, with the recent full color manga releases, everything inconsistent when it comes to Trunks' hair has actually been fixed. His base form is now purple, and his transform state is gold, which are the right colors. I've even had some people tell me that they think that Toei and Toriyama purposely made Future Trunks' hair blue and super so that fans wouldn't get confused between Future Trunks and Kid Trunks, even though they're like totally not the same height. I can't possibly fathom that anybody would confuse the two, but that's neither here nor there. So what's the real answer then? Well, to get the answer, not only do you have to go back and dig through the manga, but you also have to go back and dig through some Toriyama interviews that bring clarity. The first quote here is from Toriyama's super interview from 1995's Daizenshu number 1, where Toriyama says, "When I'm applying the color, I think it was more or less the color. However, with people that I've already drawn in color before, I generally do not go back and check, so sometimes I end up using different colors than I did before." Laughs. Now that was back in 1995, so let's look at a more recent example. The full color Frieza Arc Volume 4 interview with Toriyama from just 3 years ago. Toriyama says, and I quote, "I'm not particular with hairstyles and colors and paint them in however's convenient at the time." So the conclusion is, Trunks' hair has never been consistent, even from all the way back in the manga during its original run, even to this day. So because Trunks' hair has not been consistent, there's no mystery reason as to why Trunks' hair is blue, other than, well, it's another inconsistency. And what would Dragon Ball be without an inconsistency? So please spread this video out. Let's put the kibosh on this argument. You can sleep safely in your bed knowing that the reason why Trunks' hair is blue is because there is no reason. It's never been consistent. That's just the way it is. Have a great day.
I've come back from the future to warn you that if you don't subscribe to Geekdom 101, your future is grim.